Hi, welcome to Accordion Cafe and this accordion repair. It's the job I'm going to do is a sticky note. It's a totally locked out note sometimes when you try and press it, and that's the one there. It's the E flat, well, at least that's the worst one anyway. Start by releasing the coupler mechanism. These are held on by circlips, and there's two screws hold the coupler array in place. So take your circlips off. I use the precision screwdriver. Got to be careful not to drop these, they're very small. And the little connecting rods then just lift off. If you line the couplers up, the sliders, and it reveals a, in mine anyway, a Phillips screw at one end, and the other end is a tiny little slot screw, flat screw, which is very small. I had to use a precision screwdriver, watchmaker's screwdriver, to get at that. Then it just lifts off, and just remember your master coupler. There's a rod on the other end, and this is the rod which holds all the keys in place, like the spindle rod. I'm only using cutters on this now to pull it out slightly to get a good grip on it. It didn't hold it too tight. And then you can start pulling your rod out. If you want to number all your notes in the first place, you can, if you want, just pull this slider rod out in one go, but your notes will fly all over the place. That's just the little cover that holds it in place there, and I'll just give it a little tug so that we can release one note at a time. And out he comes. The little spring underneath, sticking out, that goes to the keyboard side. Now these notes are numbered, but once they get to 7, they go revert back to 1 then. And I couldn't find any numbers on the black notes, so it's an idea to get a bit of tape, masking tape that doesn't leave any residue behind, and put numbers on these notes.
That's got number 2 on that there, so that's okay. Those are numbered, but
the black ones aren't.
Oh, terrible, isn't it?
It's important to number these notes because obviously the arms are all different shapes, and you get them in the wrong place and it'd be all to cock. So get it in the right place. So I put numbers on each one. I just used a bit of tape. I didn't have any masking tape, so I used a bit of electrical tape. Needs a lot of patience on this job, and you've got to take your time. There was a lot of muck on this keyboard. I think the person who used it before me used it in a very smoky environment, and there was thick tar on the notes, especially near the top. So I think he must have been smoking cigars, the amount of tar on it, and that doesn't help. Doesn't help with the smell of it either. There's the rod partly coming out. Gotta be careful not to bend that. Sometimes just by twisting that rod you can get a different feel to the keyboard. You can see the tar on it, you know. I think it was in a very smoky atmosphere. This is starting to lay the keys out here. And like I say, when you pull this rod out, it releases one key at a time. If you don't, that's what happens if you don't hold the key. I mean, you know, if you number all the keys first and you feel confident enough, you can just pull that rod out in one go, but the keys will fly all over the place, so you better have them numbered. And there didn't seem to be any parts which would actually drop off the keys, but I don't like doing that, because you never know if it lands on a bit of hard ground or on the floor, it could crack the notes. So I just prefer to take them out carefully one at a time and number them like that. A lot of muck inside, as is usual, and a peculiar thing I didn't expect to see was a nut on the end there. Maybe it was being used as a spacer, but still I put it back in anyway. I doubt it was a manufacturing part though, a manufacturer's part. I shouldn't think so. And that was all the keys out, and having a good look at all the keys, there was one or two cracked around the spindle hole, and there was an added part on some of them where someone had put a piece of Bakelite on as a sort of a guide for the note guide, which are those blue ones, and to guide the note down, and that's what it was actually catching on. But anyway, I cleaned each note up, each key up, cleaned it up with a damp cloth. I didn't put it in the sink in the water or anything. I mean, obviously we ruined the pads. And don't touch the pads. You can touch the pads to just get bits of dirt off them. And there's the
guide on.
The guide hole.
See that one's got like a little piece of Bakelite on it. Now
yeah, there's the Bakelite
on the sticky note here. But I've looked carefully at it, and these keys are too high. All of them. They're all too high. And these are sticking on the guideposts. They're sticking on the guideposts, so I've got to lower all the notes, and that's going to take a bit of time.
I didn't actually lower the notes. I thought about it, and the amount of work involved and not having the special tools is just not worth it. So the actual sticky note, which was sticking, you'll see what I do to that.
Push that quick towards the outside of the keyboard. Don't put stress on the other note. Now we've got to get this into a line here. Pull that peg back.
I'm putting one note back at a time, and just pushing the spindle through.
Also got to remember that I'm also going to be lowering the action on the keyboard.
As I've said, I don't actually adjust the action, not having the right tools, but
I'm going to lower the action on the keyboard as well, because there's no point in trying to line these up at the moment, because when this spindle's in, these notes take on a slightly different angle anyway. I'll push that through to the next couple of guides there. Then you can get the right angle for the notes and the pads. Now the action on these is a little bit too long, because the notes are underneath here. The notes are
catching on the posts. I did actually lower it a bit. The actual E flat note, which was sticking, I actually lowered that one just a fraction, and
hopefully. So here we are now with coming down in number note 20. I'm just pulling this pin out here.
Just pull the pin back slightly to get the note in.
Almost, and we'll put that right back. I'm just resting it on the pin and pulling the pin back, and it's dropping into place almost.
It's a bit fiddly. You've got to get it lined up, because if you try and push that pin through,
a touch more, that should do it.
It's not so bad on the first few notes.
To place, gently line it up, both ends. Make sure the gap's lined up here. push that forward a bit. Now that should then accept the pin.
It's easy enough, like the first 3/4 of the keyboard, but the last quarter is hard to push that spindle through. It is hard to push it through. I'm trying to narrate over this soundtrack, so I hope you can hear this okay. I apologise for it. I don't want to wipe out the original soundtrack in case I miss out some information.
There we are. There we are, that's come through. Now, sharp or flat number 14. As I said before, I've numbered them in 2 separate numbered accounts, if you like. Talking about accounts, I've just had my bleeding TV licence come through. God, well, the bill for it anyway. How dare they bill me? They can't bill me for a TV licence. I don't like television. Bring the pin back. Ta-da. Get them into line like that.
Alright, Coon.
Yeah.
And the Cracker Daisy is she's
Oh.
cool. She's just at hers and
Yeah.
Jordan over. Daisy's cool though. Okay. I'm about to pop out though because I need over Daisy 10 and she wants credit without 10 off. So
Well,
I'm gonna pop out and whatnot.
how long are you going to be roughly?
I'm just gonna pop down to the bank from the shop on the way back. So 10-15 minutes.
Okay, well I'll start cooking it. Alright, well I won't start cooking it yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
It's all ready to go.
Yeah.
You know
I'll be
what I
back by 5:30 easily. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, son. Alright.
Bloody kids, eh? Let him cook his own tea.
There we are, that pin's come through there now. It feels a bit stiff, but mind you, I haven't pushed the pin through a few of the guides, so I'll just push that through a few guides to start with. No, it's a little bit. Not so bad. It's funny, this keyboard feels better already. I think it's just the fact of bringing the pin in and out, bringing this shaft in and out. It's like it resets everything. This pad don't feel too good though, yeah. That's not very good. I'll have to. Oh, that's under great suspicion, that one is. I'll just try this for tension.
A bit like setting the tappets on your car.
With a bit of paper through there. That feels a little bit loose at the bottom.
You want the same drag on the top and the bottom of the pad.
It's not that tight at the top.
And the left and the right side, really.
I think that's under great suspicion. Anyway, there will be a lot of air leaks through the pads on this when I put it back together anyway. I'll just pull this pin back out again. Ready for the next note.
Don't pull it too far back, otherwise you'll release the note you've just fitted.
We're on black 13 and white 19 now. While we're at this part, you can see the rod sticking out here. The pin comes right the way out. And what I've done here is I've just put a bit of tape on that to make it show up, in case I try and walk past it and bend the damn thing. Anyway, here we are. This is white 19 going in now. Just take our little label off first.
On reflection, I should have just numbered the keys straight. Straight numbering.
Labels I've made out. Tape.
Right, from white to black, and just numbered them consecutively.
A cock up. Right. load the spring
That's
into
towards the
slot
outside
there,
of the keyboard to load the
right-hand
spring.
side of the slot there where it goes. Put that in the slot there. The slot is made by the back of it, which has been embossed, and just get the slot on the right, and then the note goes over the stop into the little box, oblong box on the note, and I've pulled the pin back already so it's lined up, and I'm just going to give that another little touch back now, just a touch, just to make sure that's it, it's back, that's it, that's slotted down there nicely. Now we should be able to push that rod through, get it lined up tops and bottom, and we should be able to push this rod through now. Here it comes, and there we are, that's another one in. Just push that along a few slots. It's amazing, that keyboard feels so much better. How strange. These things have got a life of their own, haven't they? Still, anyway, that's that part. Let's get another one there. So we want white note 18 and black note 13 next. And while I'm there, I'll just check the pad to see for way out, top and the bottom. It's not too bad. It might be alright. We'll have to see. I bet this will squeal like hell when I first play it. This one will. What's this? A D flat. Or is it? Yeah, it must be D flat because that's a C. C sharp D flat. I'll try that because the top on this is much tighter than the bottom, so that one's going to squeal. And that's a short note, so that's going to be a little bit more difficult to get it to line up the pad again. Yeah. That's just a thin bit of paper, just to check the you know, the gap. It's like doing your tappets on the car, and except doing the tappets is a lot easier than doing the pads on an accordion. Anyway, let's go and get note number 18 and 13. 18. Right. I'm going to carry on with this now, and I'll bring you back in on it when we come near to the end of putting the keyboard back together, because this is going to be very repetitive now. This was the hardest part because of these notes going underneath, and also where's that one? Yeah, I'll bring you back in later. This is the sticky note, and although it's woven, it's still a little bit sticky now, and I need to put in a shim between the side of the note and that lug there.
Lug, it's a guide.
Well,
can't think sometimes,
a cable clip, a round nylon one, and I've chopped off the screw where you put the screw through to clamp the cable down. I've cut this off, and now I've got to make this a lot thinner. I've got to make this the thickness of a shim. The thickness of my nail, actually, that's the ideal thickness. Thickness of a nail. So now I've just got to patiently rub this down and get it thinner. It's made of nylon, so it will be self-lubricating and ideal for the job, and that should cure the problem with that sticky E flat. It was more than just sticky, it was like a hook on it. It was extremely, if you hit it the wrong way, it just locked, it just wouldn't go down, you didn't want to know at all. And you had to give it a slight lift and it would play, but the problem of that was because of the guide pin not fitting into the recess, the guide hole in the back of the note, or the underside of the note. Now it's still going slightly off to one side because those notes are a bit high, but I'm not going to try and lower the notes on the keyboard yet because that's going to be a big job, and I don't have the tools for bending the arms on the notes, so I'm not going to do that. I'll do that as a last resort, because even now the pads are going to be in need of probably a lot of work anyway to get them to line up. So I'll continue with this and switch you back on later.
This is the last note going in, and to get that spring in place, I used you'll see in a moment, a screwdriver just to hold it in place. It wasn't difficult, it wasn't fiddly. You've got to be careful when you're tapping the last length of the spindle in place, because it's very tight now, the spindle is, because it's going through all those notes and guides, and I had to clamp the pliers onto the spindle while my assistant tapped the pliers, not the spindle, to get it in place. And it wasn't fiddly, but you know, you've got to make sure it's lined up, otherwise you'll crack the plastic guide on the note if you start tapping into that instead of going through the hole in the middle, obviously. The nylon washer seemed to work anyway. It's not sticking anymore now. It just helped to keep it in line. That's just tapping the last few millimeters into line. You must keep a check on this, because if you're tapping into the plastic part of the note, you'll break it. As I say, I'm holding the pliers clamped onto the spindle while he taps the pliers, not the end of the spindle, because you'll bend it if you do that.
I don't know if it is, so I'll just put it as hard as I can.
That's got it.
Better if you can fit a drill chuck on the spindle and tap that.
Just that note there needs to be lined up.
Blue tack.
Yeah, almost finished now, but I think we just have to put into line. A little bit of a twist on that. A bit more. And there we are.
So much support, so many likes, so many favorites. I thank you guys and applaud you guys as my awesome and epic subscribers. So, as you guys saw, the
This is the last note on this job.
pretty much a
You need a bit of space, get yourself set up, you don't want any disturbances, and give yourself 4 or 5 hours. As I said before, you can pull the spindle out in one if you feel brave enough to risk breaking your notes, because they could be flying out the window. Anyway, that's all for now. Hope to see you in the next one.